Good evening, everybody. This is your host of the Huge Pop Entertainment Podcast. I'm a Huge Pop. Below me is Bill Struthers. Our guest tonight competed mostly in the independent circuit and smaller promotions like TWA and ECW Philadelphia rather than the big national ones. His record shows many victories on the independent scene. He worked both in singles and tag team. Welcome to the show, Jamie Jannety. I'm glad we have you on the show tonight. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Nice to be here with you.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time tonight. So,
absolutely.
I hate asking this question because it seems like it's redundant, but I want to know because I'm a big wrestling fan from a child. What was it like for you growing up as a wrestling fan, or were you not a wrestling fan?
I was. I started watching wrestling with my grandfather when I was about 8.
Okay.
And we weren't allowed, I wasn't allowed to go to the matches, to live matches, until I was 12. My parents just didn't want me in that atmosphere that early on. And it took a lot of convincing for them to take me. I remember my first live wrestling show was at the Spectrum for WWF. I was 12 years old. So this was 84, somewhere in there. And I was a huge Piper fan. I was never a Hulk Hogan fan. That say your prayers, eat your vitamins, and all that other. We knew that was crap when we were 12, right? That's so Philadelphia people. I mean, we just weren't that, we were the first city to have a jail inside for the NFL stadium. So yeah, we weren't good guy people back then, and still aren't, to be honest. So yeah, I enjoyed watching with my grandfather. He got quite into it.
Okay.
And yeah, it was a blast.
Awesome. Bill?
All right. So I've talked to Jimmy for a while now. How did you get your start in the business?
In the business, originally I had met when I was 14. We had wrestling radio up in Philadelphia when I was a kid. It was Joel Goodhart and Carmella and Paul, and they were the resource for wrestling in the area. Basically, the only radio show of its kind that I knew of back then. And eventually I became part of the Squared Circle fan club, where we used to go to the matches and we would go to independent shows. My first independent show that I went to, I was 15, I believe. It was in Wildwood, New Jersey. The main event was Abdul the Butcher versus Bruiser Brody.
Ooh.
Wow, that'd be epic, dude. That'd been sick.
Yeah, it sounds like a good match.
I had never seen Abdul live. I had never live. Okay. Yes. So, yeah, Bruiser Brody and Abdul the Butcher, and I was hooked. I wanted to be a part of it from that point. And eventually, through the Squared Circle fan club, I found an organization that was kind of like, I guess you would call it a backyard wrestling deal. Before that was backyard.
Mhm.
It was kind of a just no-name independent. WFR was what they were calling themselves, wrestling fundraisers. And we had a enhancement talent, and I can't remember his name right now. God bless him. But he was kind of working with us, showing us some things, what to do. And we would go out to like smaller special school or to special engagement, and we would wrestle the best we knew how. And I was called Radical Randy back then. And then, honestly, I don't know if you would know who this is. Max Thrasher, who is called the Bounty Hunter, Max Thrasher. He actually teamed with Glenn Osborne in ECW as the Nightbreed. So we would hire Max to use his ring for these shows. And he kind of pulled me aside one day because he knew who I was through Joel. And he said, listen, you guys, you have to get away from these guys. These guys are going to get you killed. Right?
Right.
So he said, and by that time, at that point, I know, Scott, you had Jim Molyneux on.
Yes.
Jim Molyneux was my manager in this organization. We also had JT Smith there, who was wrestling there with us. And like I said, Max pulled us aside, myself and JT. Jim Molyneux had already left, and he had already went to the Ringmasters Wrestling School to start training for Tri-State Wrestling. Bounty Hunter basically said that he would train us for free. He had a school himself. And he was out a little further up, closer to the Maryland in Pennsylvania. It wasn't something that I would have been able to get to. I was 15. I didn't drive. JT, it was too far for him to go, but JT turned around and went with Joel at Ringmasters Wrestling School, and he started training. But I couldn't go there because I was 15, and they wouldn't let me wrestle. They wouldn't let me train at that point. So I went in and I stayed with these guys. A month, 2 months, actually. Well, no, I'm lying. 3 months before my 16th birthday, they had a show that they sent us out to. And this was more of a professional independent show. Run by Eddie G and Bobby Powers. They were promoters in Philadelphia for very small shows. And they had me team up with Tim, what was his? Tim Wolf, I think it was his name. And they put us in a team together as Bad Attitude.
Okay.
And we wrestled guys. There's an independent wrestler out there and promoter, Tony Stallone.
Okay.
And he, they put us against him and another guy named Bob, and I don't remember his last name, but he very nice guy, but yeah, I don't remember him very well. They put us in that tag team match, and they wanted us to bleed, which we did. And I ended up getting busted for being 15 and wrestling on a show because my future trainer, who was Larry Winters, was at this show, knew who I was, knew how old I was, and busted me out to the promoter. Now, I never lied about my age. Nobody ever asked.
That works.
Yeah.
I never said that I was anything of anything. So, but still, I ended up not getting paid for that show until I agreed to give them the videotape so they wouldn't get in trouble.
There you go. What's that old saying?
Yeah, you give, you get, right? So
Yeah.
there was it, and I was busted. I couldn't go back to WFR because I was busted. And yeah, that almost ended my wrestling journey until eventually Joel Goodhart allowed me to start at Ringmasters Wrestling School after I turned 16. And I began to train, and I had my very first match for Tri-State Wrestling. It was at the Roundhouse in Philadelphia, which is a prison. But every year they do a little, I don't know, it's just like a fair, some kind of fair there, which why they would do that at the prison is beyond me. Either way, it's Philadelphia, guys.
Right. I mean, I'd say, yeah, that's Philly.
So, and this was 2 months, or actually the month before my 17th birthday, was this first match. And this first match that I got paid for, I wrestled the Ghetto Blaster. Okay. He hit me with a heart punch so hard, I thought my heart was going to pull out my back. Ooh. And yeah, that was it. That was my first professional match. I lost to a heart punch at a prison in Philadelphia.
Wow. So
you can't get it. You can't get any different than that.
No, I mean, my next question was, what was the Philadelphia wrestling scene like in the late 80s and early 90s before ECW got established? You just told us what it was like. It looked like it was in prison. You got heart punched.
Well, yeah, we did a lot. With Tri-State, we did a lot of the shows. We would do what Joel called car wars, where basically we would set up at car dealerships when they would run their sales, their whatever kind of sale they would run. And we would set up there at a show, and we had plenty of people that were coming to these shows Saturday afternoon, and then we would be somewhere else at one of the recreation centers Saturday night, and Sunday we would do them too. And we were working all over Philadelphia, and Tri-State was kind of like, it was an anomaly at the time, especially because we're like one of the only independent organizations that had ratings in the Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine.
Yeah.
At 17 years old, I was rated in the PWI magazines. It was mind-blowing. So, like I said, Tri-State was an anomaly. There weren't many other organizations that were in the Philadelphia area. There were others outside in the Pennsylvania area. The Samoans ran Allentown, and Reading was run by Damian Kane. Excuse me. So there were plenty of independents all around Pennsylvania, but Philadelphia Tri-State was the main deal.
Right. So I want to piggyback off what you said. 17 when 1990, when you're 17 years old, you're ranked 430 on the top 500 singles wrestlers on the PW 500.
Yep.
Not only did you do that, but the next year you were ranked 368 in the PWI 500. So that goes off to you, my friend.
Thank you very much. I it's like I said, it's mind blowing that we as independent wrestlers, and it's 17 years old.
Right.
I was in the ratings. All the guys were in there. Glenn was in there at the time. Glenn's a little older, a couple years older than I am, but I was lucky enough to be able to work with these guys and to get into that organization and be out there with those guys, with Glenn, with Sandman, CN Red, Johnny Hotbody, Larry Winters, DC Drake, all these guys. They shaped me from a very young age, and I was very lucky for that.
Awesome. Bill?
Keep bringing up Glenn Osborne. I hear that was a big rivalry back in the day.
It was. I was lucky enough, and I really am happy that I got to meet Glenn and work with him as much as I did. We had so many matches, not just for Tri-State. They would book us out. Joel Goodhart would book us out to Salisbury, Maryland, to wherever. We would do bookings, and we would be the first or second match on the show and come in, get paid, and leave. And we did tons and tons of matches. And the thing I liked working about with Glenn was no matter the other guys that I would work with, I would say, hey, I want to do this. I want to do this. And they were like, nah, I don't think so. Glenn, no matter what I wanted to do, okay, let's go. No matter what he wanted to do, same with me. Let's go. It was just like that. We would try out new things on each other, and just to be able to work with him for as much as I did, I am very lucky, and I am blessed with that.
Well, I'm going to keep on with this Glenn Osborne thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is how deep, but I deep dived with you, and plus I reached out to people.
Right.
I don't know if many people know that. Maybe Bill won't even know this one. Glenn Osborne met his wife through Jimmy Jannety.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I was actually, and I knew Erica for years before that. Met her in high school, and through a friend of mine in high school.
Yeah.
And we dated for a summer, and it was just it was what it was, and teenage fling, and that was it, just a summer. And then a few years later, after I had gotten into wrestling, I had heard that Glenn was talking with her, and I actually brought her up to Glenn to meet, and yeah, and from that point on. So
also, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I reached out to several of your friends on Facebook. So
I have friends.
Yes, you do.
Really?
So tell me about how it must have felt to be the first ECW match ever was Stevie Richards versus Jimmy Jannety.
You know what? Honestly, Glenn and I trained Stevie.
Okay.
It wasn't that we were training people back then. It was our trainer, Larry Winters, had broken his leg. Tony Stetson was taking over for Larry, but Tony worked at the hospital. He was an intern at the hospital. So he wouldn't always be able to be there at the time. And when he wasn't there, Johnny Hotbody was there. And Johnny Hotbody's not the greatest trainer in the world. God bless him. Love Johnny. But Johnny was Johnny. And that's all I'm going to go with. But
I've heard that.
So Glenn and I kind of took Stevie aside and worked with him and trained him. And unfortunately, his debut match was supposed to be in Tri-State, but Tri-State closed before that happened.
Okay.
So it ended up to where ECW on February 22nd, 1992, ECW's very first match was put together, and it was myself against Stevie Richards. And the match was a 20-minute draw in front of a Philadelphia crowd. I don't know if you kind of get what I'm talking about, but
that didn't go over well, did it?
We weren't right? That went over about as well as a fart in church.
Right.
So
100%.
It was, yeah. But either way, but I want to tell you, that is the trivia question that most people will get wrong. I have been told that by Todd Gordon himself, actually, because there was a trivia question of who was the very first ECW match, and it's myself and Stevie, and most people get it wrong.
Well,
more so for me than they do for Stevie. They mention Stevie, but they don't mention me. So all right, whatever.
Right, and I was telling Bill earlier on today. One thing I like about what Bill and I do is we try to come with things that everybody don't come with, right? And I just found that was an interesting topic. And by the way, a lot of people are saying to me that you trained Stevie Richards, which you already said you did, but a lot of people don't think you get enough credit for doing that. And so hats off to you, man.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. But honestly, it was... He was a good kid. He was there every time, and he wanted to learn. And he didn't just learn from us. After the Ringmasters Wrestling School closed down, he went to Iron Mike Sharp's school in New Jersey, Bricktown, I believe it was, something like that. And that's where guys like Nova, who was I forget what did he do in WWF? Nova.
Simon Dean.
Yeah, Simon Dean. There you go. So yeah, he did that there. But he was at Iron Mike Sharp's school. There was a bunch of people that were there, and Stevie went there afterwards. I did a few shows for them, and worked with a couple of the people. But yeah, as far as Stevie and I go, we did that first match that was a draw. We did another match for Chubby Dudley in his promotion, Liberty All-Star Wrestling. And Stevie won that match. He won the heavyweight championship off of that match with me. And then a little while later, Stevie was going back to WWF and needed to drop the title. And him and I had another match, and I won that match. So it's 1-1 and a tie. And actually, in 2012, I tried to get a rubber match together. And I wanted Glenn Osborne as the special referee for that match. Couldn't get it booked. Never happened.
That would have been a great match.
That would have been a great match. It would have, at the time, it would have been a great match. Yes. I then tried the 30th year of ECW's anniversary in 2022.
I'll be right back.
Tried to get it together. Couldn't do it. Uh-oh. Bye, Scott. So
I'm here.
Yeah, well, we're here. So yeah, I tried to get those done, couldn't get a rubber match done. Unfortunately, now both Stevie and I are done, so it'll never happen. So it'll stay 1-1-1.
How about the Joel Goodhart luncheons? How are those?
I loved his luncheons, man. We had those. I met so many people through those. We had Lex Luger. We had Don Morocco and Bruno Sammartino, Ken Patera, David Schultz, a bunch of these guys that you would meet. And it was wrestling besides WWF at the time. And that was because WWF, besides Roddy Piper, held nothing for me in the 80s. I did like Don Morocco. I did like, a few of the other guys, Bob Orton and Savage and some of the other guys. But as far as that goes, most of them were always Southern guys. Those guys came from the Southern wrestling, and they were just different than watching Hulk Hogan and watching, his matches with King Kong Bundy or whoever. That just didn't hold it for me. So, yeah, I enjoyed those. I enjoyed those luncheons a bunch. You got to meet guys that you would never, ever get a chance to meet.
man. That must be how I feel now for talking to you guys. Um,
Yeah.
how did you meet Todd Gordon? How'd that go?
The first time I met Todd was he was Tri-State. He was at Tri-State for, um, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, Variety Club.
I
Variety
think so.
Club, they were a charity, and they did a camp for special children. And Todd ran that. He ran the Variety Club camp. And that's how he came into Tri-State for Joel Goodhart, because he also owned a pawn shop, a family-owned pawn shop in downtown Philadelphia. So Todd came on as basically a ring announcer for the big shows, the 4 big shows that Tri-State would run. They did Autumn Armageddon, Winter Challenge, Spring Spectacular, and Summer Sizzler. Those were the 4 annual shows that Tri-State did at the Civic Center. And Todd Gordon would ring announce for them then. And we also ran shows at his Variety Club camp, special shows for the kids. And we do that, I believe, 2 or 3 times a year for those shows. So that's when I first met Todd. Did not realize that he was a money man in Tri-State at the end. And unfortunately, that's probably what did it in.
So what we do on this show, we like to let the fans come in and talk to you also, so they message people. So thank you guys for watching on YouTube. Hit the follow and subscribe button. We're going to go down the list. Here's a couple questions from people watching on YouTube. What was your first match, and what was your best moment that changed your career?
My first match, I think I said it a little earlier, was the match at the Philadelphia Roundhouse with the Ghetto Blaster and lost to the Heart Punch. God bless him. Merle, he was a good dude, but he was the kind of guy that you would beg you would beg him to hit you with a real punch, because his work punches were killing you. So he was what we call stiff back then. And yeah, so but that match, I love that match. I love Merle, and it was my introduction to the business. So there you go. As far as what had changed my career, I would guess it would be a match we had in Maryland for the MEWF. It was myself and Raven against Marty Jannety and my former partner, Rich Myers. And through that, I got to meet Marty. Probably. He's, yeah, we got to meet Marty. And working with Raven, with Scotty was fun. Stevie Richards was there as well as part of the flock. And I became part of the flock. So for I believe 6 months.
Nice.
So that would probably be the defining career.
Hey, being part of Raven's flock, that's
honestly, I was what you call a journeyman.
okay.
I did not stay one place very long. I was ceremoniously or unceremoniously booted from ECW in a few years in, because I don't know if you know who Rockin' Rebel is. He was an independent guy unfortunately, he passed away here. Well, he killed himself, but he also killed his wife before that happened. So he's kind of a dick. I'm sorry, I can't curse here, but either way, he was my original tag team partner in Tri-State Wrestling. Okay. We were supposed to get the tag team titles, and he ended up ditching that idea because he wanted the heavyweight championship. So Joel Goodhart never gave us the tag team titles. We ended up breaking up. He was a pain in the ass. But when he came to ECW, he was probably a big reason of why I left. His lips were firmly planted on Todd Gordon's behind. And through that, I was basically pushed out because Chuck didn't like me very much.
Got it.
So, yeah. But it ended up where I was working. I was working in Maryland. I was working in West Virginia. I was working in Virginia. So I was working with the same guys from ECW when they would wrestle out elsewhere.
Right.
Because Todd only ran once a month at the time. He eventually started running more shows a month, but usually it wasn't until Eddie Gilbert came in and took over that those shows became more than once a month. And so it was ECW at the time was quite a lot of turmoil. And yes, so I was unceremoniously shown the door.
Okay. Bill, do you care if I share more from the crowd, from the fans?
Yeah, keep the fans going.
Oh, please. Let's
this one.
Hope
Is there any current indie wrestlers you have your eye on? You pay attention to indie wrestling? Is there anybody you have your eye on?
Yeah. There are a few down here. I don't have my eye on many out elsewhere. But around here, some people that I've worked with, Ruthie J, who is down here. God bless her. She's done so well around the area for the NWA. She's done a little bit for AEW. I think she's working for TNA now. Her and there are a few other. Jackal Stevens down here is very, very good. He works for Coastal Championship Wrestling.
CCW.
And Gangrel also works for those folks now.
Yep.
And he was Ruthie J was part of the Gangrel school that I worked with, and came out of that school, and she's doing very well. And like I said, Jackal Stevens. So there are a few down here that I am keeping an eye on, but not too many elsewhere. I haven't been to a show in got to be at least 3 years.
I run with a promotion here in the Panhandle called Extreme Impact Wrestling, XIW, and they got a couple guys. Jackson Slade runs with the guys down in CCW, down that area too. So yeah,
I worked with them I worked with CCW from the time I got here, 2015. When I first got down here, it was Dan and I can't remember his last name, and Pablo Marquez.
Yeah. Yep.
And eventually, Gangrel came back and moved back to Hollywood, Florida. And I then started working with Gangrel, who I'd known since he was the Blackheart came up for Tri-State for he was tag team champions with Tom Nash as the Blackhearts, and Luna was their manager. He was the tag team champions in Tri-State.
You had a feud with Luna, didn't you? Luna and the Blackhearts?
Yes. Yeah, and Luna, oh, God bless her. They all, in that match that we had, that was actually a match that I had requested, and where I was able to get away from Rock and Rebel as the tag team. He turned on me that night. Yeah. But I'm getting beat up by Tom Nash, Gangrel, Luna, and Rock and Rebel. I was a puddle in the ring by the end of it.
I guess. Holy crap.
So, yeah, but I've known Gangrel since that time. So yeah, I came down and started working with him, and he's had a few good kids that have come out of his school. Yeah. Unfortunately, COVID kind of killed it off, and he ended up going back, and now he's working again with Coastal Championship Wrestling, CCW down here.
Awesome. Bill?
So,
do you have any places you regret that you didn't work?
Yes, many. Unfortunately, by the time that I had come in, a lot of the territories were gone. So I originally wanted to start working for the UWF. When I was 14 years old, I had sent away. They had a wrestling school for the UWF, Bill Watts Mid-South Wrestling. And I had called them, contacted them when I was 14, and they said that they wouldn't be able to take me until I was 18. And unfortunately, 2 years after that was in '86. By 2 years later, they were gone. So there wouldn't have been any way I would have been able to work for them. The NWA was technically gone before I started really getting in. I came in at the end of '88 into '89, and they were gone by then. It was WCW by that point. So the NWA was gone. AWA was gone. Most of the independents, or not independents, I should say, territories were gone. Florida was gone. So a lot of those areas, I regret that I didn't get to work for. I got to work in the Sportatorium in Texas, but it wasn't for world class. So that was kind of disappointing. I did get to work in Memphis in 1991, I believe.
Okay.
So yeah, and I had other times that I was down there, but that was much later, when Memphis was technically gone. But yeah, there was a lot of places that I didn't get a chance to work, and that I really wanted to.
So we're coming across Christmas season. And a fun fact about Mr. Jannety, you trained a Hall of Fame Santa Claus?
Hall of Fame Santa Claus?
By the name of Frank Naoma.
Oh, Frank.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Frank Cody. God bless his heart. Santa Claus.
He was inducted in the Santa Claus Hall of Fame in 2024.
I didn't know that. I really didn't know that, to be honest. I don't know why.
I found that out with Bay. I was listening to one of his podcasts live once.
Yeah.
That's I'm surprised, and Bay might have probably did tell me. I have the worst memory, guys. I really do. It's either all those chair shots or all that pot that I smoked. But either way, neither here nor there. Yeah, Frank. I love Frank. He was we had the most fun training Frank. They would come, Bay and Chubby Dudley would come to my house at like noon during the day, and we would drive over to Kensington in Philadelphia. And along the way, I mean, we were doing hooker hunts along the way. It was just like, pointing them out. There you are. There, And yeah, you could roll the window down and pet the crackheads. They were back then. That was kind of fun.
Nice.
But we were training him at a place called the Rock Shop, which was at a warehouse in Kensington. John Rock bought the ring from Ringmasters Wrestling School, and that is where we trained Frank, on that
All
ring.
right.
Wow.
So yes, I trained a Hall of Famer, Santa Claus.
Yeah, you did. I mean, I'm just telling you facts. I got facts.
There's some facts that I will not remember. I tell you honestly, I've had people like show me pictures of some wrestling matches that I was in, and I do not remember anything about them. So it's
All right.
it's quite possible.
Bill.
I was talking to you last week or a couple weeks ago. 90% of your career is not on film.
Right.
Now,
it's not.
How did that work?
It is independent shows that you go to, as I said, journeyman. Unless I brought a video camera, who was going to tape it? And even if I did bring a video camera, who was going to tape it?
Yeah, you can't wrestle and tape
it. And sometimes, unless you get the guy that tape the show for the person, and they'll send you a videotape. I have those. I have some of those. Right. Plenty of people, they did a DVD for the show, whatever the case, they sent them to me. Sometimes they sent them to me, sometimes they didn't. So yeah. But as far as like television stuff, it was very rare. And it was mostly what was that? Public access years ago for Tri-State or for ECW or for some of the other independents that were trying to do TV at the time. So, but yeah, a lot of times you go to these independent shows, and some of these places, West Virginia, and they never heard video camera before. Right. So they don't know what this is. So yeah, you just don't get the tapes. And I'm okay with that, because there are probably some of those things that you really wouldn't want to watch again.
So would you say Josh Valen was one of your favorite talent to train?
Josh Valen?
Yeah.
Yes. I worked with him when I was at Boogie's wrestling camp, but Jimmy Valiant. Yeah. And Josh, God bless him, he's a talent. He was very young then. He was very young when he first started training. And he has grown so much in what he's doing now. Right now, he's doing an Adrian Street inspired character.
Okay.
For Pure Pro Wrestling, Jimmy Love's organization in North Carolina, as well as pretty much everywhere in Maryland and Delaware. He's doing so well with that now. And I think that's honestly, he had to find his character to be able to do that it has brought him out, because he was very shy when he was younger. And it was hard to get him to be that guy that you need to be. Right. Because it's everything. Your personality turned up to 1,000 is what people always say. Right. And he originally, he just did not have that 1,000% personality. But with this character, it has brought him out, and I'm proud of him for that. He's a good kid.
Awesome.
Bill, in your 35-year career, I've seen that you've held a lot of belts. Any standout ones for you?
The one that I liked, the bad Liberty All-Star Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. I did a lot of tag team titles with Rich Myers as Marvelous Incorporated. We were also the Holy Rollers and throughout Maryland. And I loved working with Rich. We were, whatever organization we went into, they would hand us tag team titles. So yeah, a lot of those. were just like, and they're props. I've never been a belt collector. I've never been I don't know, a belt hunter. I should say, because I know what they're out. I know what they are. I know what they're for. They are a prop. No matter what the case is, they are a prop. Now it's nice because somebody is giving you their championship to represent.
Right.
So it's nice in that because they think enough of you that you're gonna do this. So, but as far as belts, they are a prop, and once that is, so yeah, it's hard to say. But like I said, the Liberty All Star Wrestling Heavyweight Championship was Bay's championship. I was that for a long time, very long time. And also Primal Conflict Wrestling in West Virginia, their championship, heavyweight championship, I held for a long time. And I like that one. Tyler Cates in West Virginia. Both of them really gave me a lot of shows. So I always liked those guys.
Do you have any fun or good or bad Paul Heyman stories?
I have a good one and I have a bad one overall. Yeah. Now, originally, when I first met Paulie, it was through Joel Goodhart. He came in and did one of our luncheons. And he was managing, I think, the original Midnight Express at the time. And basically, he was meeting him was very cool. He was just a smart ass, and he enjoyed picking on people. And it was cool meeting him for the first time. After that point, the cool story I have about him is when I was working in MEWF in Maryland, he had come in and we did there's a 4-way tag team match, and he was managing, I believe, Axel Rotten and Ian Rotten, the Rotten brothers at the time. Or he was managing the Broad Street Bullies, which was Tony Stetson and Johnny Hotbody. I can't remember which one he was managing. But they had come in, and it was a 4-way tag team match. And he wanted to know why I wasn't in ECW anymore. That he had just started taking over the booking, and he wanted me to come back. And I said, okay, he said, I want you guys at the next show. And this is the first time that I had been to like one of those shows in the ECW arena. And he put us up in the bird's nest, the eagle's nest. And we were watching the show. These people were friggin' crazy. The fans, I'm talking. The fans were nuts. They were sitting there. They were in there for an hour before showtime or an hour before bell time, sitting in their seats doing whatever. They had the ring announcer, Bob Ortiz, was throwing things back and forth, T-shirts, that type of thing, trying to keep the crowd entertained, trying to keep them calm, to be honest. And there was a what do they call it? One of the little rubber balls, the beach ball.
Yes.
That the fans were hitting back because it was a 4-corner deal in the ECW arena. The ring was in the center, and then they had bleachers running up all sides, and then the other 2 sides were chairs of all the way back. That you could see. One of the camera sides was the chairs that you saw all the way back. So the crowd is banting around this beach ball, and all of a sudden the beach ball disappears. In unison, all of these people went together and looked at one guy in the audience and went, "The fat guy ate the ball. The fat guy ate the ball." These people are friggin' crazy.
Mm-hmm.
During the intermission, we went backstage, talked to Paul, saw Todd for the first time in a couple years, went around, said hello to everybody, and basically went back in. And I'm there with my partner, Rich. And I talked to Paul and I said, all right, I said, we're going to head out. We'll talk to you. I'll give you a call the week after the weekend. And we'll talk and see what to do, what we can do. Okay. On the way back to Maryland, talking to my partner, and he goes, "You're crazy." He goes, "I'm not doing this." He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to go to ECW. He knew how they treated Hack Myers. He knew how they treated Chad Austin. I didn't believe it was going to happen because it was like, this was my house. This was ECW. I was here. This is, and as it turned out anyway, I talked to Paulie on that Monday, and Todd wouldn't go for it. Todd would not want to bring me back in. And yeah, so that was kind of it. So yeah, that's my almost Paulie story.
All right, Bill.
So you've been heavyweight champion, tag champion. You've also been cruiserweight champion.
Yes.
How was it floating between the weight classes?
To be honest with you, I was probably 190 to maybe 205. Even at heavyweight championships deal. Right. So yeah, it wasn't hard to be in the cruiserweight deal for me anyway. In fact, my trainer, Larry Winters, he always used to refer to me as Spaghetti Jannety. It wasn't until I was like 30 some that I started actually putting some weight on. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was the cruiserweight. It was fun. I mean, I didn't look as good for heavyweight championship matches, especially super heavyweight championship matches.
Right.
But I mean, you could fib it if you wanted to and hit 225. So that way, at least the heavyweight championship wouldn't seem so odd. But yeah. It wasn't difficult to be cruiserweight, though. Trust me. It was more difficult to be heavyweight.
I don't know how to pull up them comments, Scott, but I think we got a couple new ones.
Oh yeah.
New one is, what was your favorite part of jumping around to different locations all the time? Anything you would have brought to make your travels easier?
Yeah, actually, I really enjoyed the travel. Sometimes it was by myself, so I didn't get to use as much with the something to keep me distracted. But I used to have a Sega Nomad. It was a handheld video game that played the big Sega cartridges. So and the first time I took it out on tour with me, I had brought it with batteries, and it took 8 batteries per shot, and those 8 batteries lasted about an hour.
Wow,
so that was no good.
8 batteries last an hour. Dang.
Yes. The 8 AA batteries lasted an hour, and I was like, all right, yeah, that was that. So I ended up buying a lighter plug cord for it, and then on I was set. So yeah, the Sega Nomad really helped in a lot of places because kids, I guess younger folks won't understand. There was no internet back then.
Right.
There was nothing. There was no smartphones to keep you occupied. If you were lucky to get directions to the show that you were going to, you know, a lot of times I would get people that would like send me out, message me or send me snail mail, you know, where to be here. Here's where you be. And there's where, you know, and you're at the General Lee high school gym in somewhere in North Carolina, whatever the case. So you're expected to get to North Carolina and then find out, go in at 7-Eleven and ask directions where the high school gym is.
Wow. I mean,
yeah,
but that makes sense though. I mean, if you don't have a cell phone,
Yeah.
and all you got is a paper map. I can remember traveling with my parents at paper map, and
Yep.
you get to the location, but you're going to stop at a gas station and say, "Hey, where is this building?"
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I've had that done. I've been around the world with that. The United
Yeah.
States was like that way, and
Because
I
I mean,
know
once you
you're-
get there, it's you know, this is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, they don't tell you, they don't give you directions from
Right.
you know, wherever you're coming from. Unfortunately, that didn't start until really like 95
Okay.
when people were getting that MapQuest stuff
Yeah.
back in the day, and then yeah, you would get basically the MapQuest and
Yeah.
print it out.
And you had a stack of papers like this up
Yeah,
there.
right.
Yeah.
Computer, and yeah, it was terrible, but it was better directions than you'd gotten before, somewhat. But it was they were very vague, depending on which way you were coming in from,
Right.
which side of the state or which side
Yeah.
of the So,
So
it was difficult.
Wow. So as we're wrapping down to as I'm close to an hour, you talk
Oh,
about
wow.
You talk about maps,
Yeah.
which means road.
Mhm.
We have not talked about road stories. So do you have any good road stories? And if Nicole won't go with that question, is if the ribs were on the smoker, who are you ribbing and how?
Oh boy.
Which question do you want first?
Who are you gonna rib? Did you ever rib anybody and how?
I am not a ribber because I don't like it.
Okay.
So I don't tend to do things to other people that I don't like done to me.
That's fair.
That makes sense.
But if it happens to me, oh, I promise you, I'll get you back. And yeah, Johnny Hotbody was famous for it.
Oh boy.
And yeah, I'm just gonna say I got him back. And if you want the story, you probably have to talk to him about
Well,
that.
I don't know if you can top this one.
Okay.
I can't. I mean, I think it was British Bulldog. I think you were on the bill. I think you were on this.
Yeah,
British-
Bulldog did it to
Big
Vader.
Bad Vader.
Yep.
He pissed in a cup, took a 20cc syringe, sucked up the piss, shot it in Vader's toothpaste bottle, and Vader brushed his teeth for weeks
Yeah.
before he found out about it.
So I've heard this story a couple more times, and it actually gets worse.
Oh my God.
Oh,
It wasn't just the piss. He went further after.
Jesus Christ.
This went on for almost a year.
Wow.
oh.
So if you have no rib
Yeah.
stories, do you have any good road stories?
The road story. The one road story I have that it was ECW inspired. A lot of road stories I don't have if I was traveling alone, and there was a lot of that. Or I would travel with my manager, who was my fiance at the time, Mitzi Million. But yeah, if I was doing face work, she didn't come. So, and a lot of times we would go for certain shows, we would go from Boogie's, but I would usually drive myself to them just because I told you, I'm not a very social person at all. I'm really not. But one road story that I remember quite well, we wrestled for Friday night MEWF in Maryland. Saturday afternoon, we had an ECW shot at the Chestnut Cabaret. This was around 1:00. My trainer, original trainer, Larry Winters, he told me that he got us shows in Connecticut that evening. So we drove from Philadelphia to Connecticut, which was probably a 6-hour drive. We get there, and as we were getting there, we were late to the show. We were about probably an hour. It started at 7. We got there probably about 8:15. And honestly, the ring had just got finished setting up when we had gotten there. Kerry Von Erich was on this show. The Warlord was on this show. And I ended up wrestling. We did some kind of tournament because we were so late, and there was a couple guys that didn't make it. And I ended up wrestling Frank Cody in the first match, and I beat him to advance in the tournament. And then I ended up wrestling Kerry Von Erich in the second match. So that was very cool. Yeah. He had asked me backstage. He had asked me for a cigarette. I'm a smoker, and he asked me for a cigarette, and I said, I didn't realize you smoked. He said, I don't. He said, but if you smoke it real fast, you get a kind of a buzz. Telling me. So yeah, we ended up going. We wrestled in that show. He beat me, and as we were going home, this was it's close to 2:00 in the morning by this point. And my fiance was driving. She ended up giving the wheel over to Frank Cody at one point. So Frank is driving. Larry and I are sleeping in the back of the car. We pull over. We hear them pulling over to a gas station. He had pulled off one of the exits. We were somewhere in New York. Didn't know where. So I get out of the car, and my fiance, whose car it was, asked me to go pay for gas and find out how to get back to 95. Okay. So I go up to the window. I find out, pay for gas. Hey, fill up on this pump out here. And how do you get back to 95? The guy who was behind a cage in a thing, I'm sure you've seen these things.
Yeah.
In his window. So he's behind this cage. He looks up at me, and his eyes got biggest silver dollars. He's like, what the hell are you doing here? I thought, do I know you? What are you talking about? He goes, okay, here, listen, forget this. Go down this road, make a left, go down to the next stoplight, make a right, and you'll see 90 sign for 95 over on the thing. He said, whatever you do, don't stop. What the hell? So I walk back to the car, and I turn around, and put gas in the car. She said, did you get directions to 95? I said, yeah. I looked at Frank. I said, where are we? He said, the Bronx.
Ugh.
Oh, boy.
It's Saturday morning on the Bronx at 2:00 in the morning.
Oh, no.
I said, dude, we got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, right?
So I was like, all right, here, there. And we did not stop. And we were hoping, the best we could hope for is if there was a cop that was behind or saw us or something, and he would chase me. I believe he would understand. But believe me, there wasn't no cops down there.
Oh no.
and the Bronx at 2:00 in the morning on a Saturday night. Yeah.
I got
Yes, we luckily made it out without any hitches, and yes, back on to
95.
the Philadelphia area. But yeah, that was the longest weekend I think in my career.
Wow. No, I have a similar one. My family, my wife and I met our best friends in Chicago,
Right.
and we're riding downtown Chicago, and we stopped at a hotel. The Asian Indian lady, whatever she was, she says, "You go." I asked her how to get to the car garage. She goes, "Go down there, you turn." I said, "So you turn there?" She goes, "Yes, you turn there." I mean, and so I said, "So I turn left." She goes, "Yes, you turn there." So I went down there. I turned left. I ended up doing this twice. I ended up in Lower Wackerly, where I don't need to be.
No.
I mean, I've got people pushing grocery carts with burn barrels in their grocery carts. I'm like, I need to get the fuck out of here because this is not where I need to be. It took me 30 minutes to finally realize that she said, "Go up there and U-turn. Make a U-turn."
Oh.
I wish you would have said that in the first place.
Right.
All right, man. Go ahead, Bill.
You don't turn here, you turn, and there you go. Yeah, well,
I was actually.
I have a few stories like that, personal stuff, but yeah, that was the most entertaining one.
All right.
So yeah, unfortunately, I don't have too many of with other people,
right?
Because I did a lot of traveling myself.
Yeah, Bill.
So.
I was in Flushing meeting the Sandman, Francine, and Shane Douglas. I went up and down the road 4 times trying to find that comic book shop. Finally, I parked at the grocery store, walked up to the comic book shop. Then they tell me, "Oh, it's down the road to the right at a different comic book shop." Oh, motherfuckers. I was pissed. I almost was late, but I made it. You recently did the TWA One and Done. How did that come about?
Not as well as I would have hoped. Honestly, it came about. It started out 10 years ago, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Joel Goodhart was trying to do a book, and he wrote a book with Scott Teal about tri-state wrestling and everything that happened. And I believe they're still available. If people are interested, they can look up that book. I'm sorry, I'm distracted by whatever this is. Yeah, he had gotten together with Bay for a podcast to announce that he was going to have his book available, and then it turned into, well, let's do a show. One and Done. I was like, no, I didn't really want to do a show. We did a show, One and Done. We did a tri-state reunion. It was back in 2009, I believe, or 2009. There was more of us here.
Yeah.
There was more of us that were able to wrestle. In fact, all of us wrestled on that show. But there were more guys that were here. There's a lot of guys that passed in that time frame. CN Red, Crybaby Waldo, Larry Winters. There's a lot of guys that passed away in that time. But what they wanted to do was they wanted to do a banner for Hall of Fame in the ECW arena for Larry Winters, Joel Goodhart, Tony Stetson, DC Drake, and Johnny Hotbody. That was the 5 guys that, for Philadelphia wrestling, there wouldn't have been an ECW if it wasn't for those guys.
Right.
And that's just the bottom line. So they started it. And they should really be acknowledged for that aspect. So that was what it was more about than anything else, was to do that. And what I had thought would happen would be, hey, that would be great. We could have a luncheon or a dinner like they did in the Squared Circle Fan Club.
Right.
And you have those guys get up on stage and we raise the banner and you have them speak like as an acceptance, whatever the case.
Right.
And then we do some kind of roast. You know, you get a comedian in there and you guys could write some stuff. Everybody could write up some stuff and just roast everybody. And it would be great. And that would be something that I could see would have been a great thing. No, they wanted to run a show and a convention. Come on. Stop. Who wants to see us? You ever heard the song Garden Party from Ricky Nelson? So. This is back an old show, an old song back in the 60s. It started out as I went to a garden party to reminisce with my old friends, chance to play our memories and sing our songs again. When I got to the garden party, they all knew our names. No one recognized us. We didn't look the same. Nobody cared. Dude, I don't look anywhere close to what I looked like when I was 17, 18 years old. And a lot of these people haven't seen me since that time.
Right.
Because when I moved from Philadelphia, I mean, I came back and did Independence and did all that other stuff. But a lot of these people hadn't seen me. And if they didn't look on, Facebook to see what I look like, and I'm not on there very much anyway, it doesn't matter.
Right.
So that was it. It was like, nobody's going to want to pay to see us. Nobody's going to. That convention is, especially when you have a convention like a week later that was, I forget what it was for, but it was everything. The NWA was there.
Yeah, it was a really big one.
Yeah, it was, and that was a week later. I was like, all right, guys, you guys are stuck. Nobody, So, and the convention didn't do very well, unfortunately. And I'll be honest, I wasn't into it anyway. And as far as the show, I can't work anymore. My mind, I can do it. I know I'd be able to do it. My body is like, you're out of your fucking mind. So, it's just it. I'm 53 years old now. I should not be wrestling. I've had a few minor health issues. But most of the people that are around for Tri-State shouldn't be working. It's just, it's way past that thing now. So to have this one and done, we did that a long time ago, and I wasn't very happy with it. And I don't think Joel was very happy with me because I wasn't as supportive as he thought I should be.
Now, is that the one that Chubby Dudley put together? Or?
Yes. Yeah. So, and to be honest with you, that is the only reason I actually did it is for Bay, because Bay's been my best friend for 30 years.
I mean, yeah, and
and to see Glenn again and to see some of the guys that I haven't been able to see, it was great. But past that, I'm spending a lot of money to do this stuff and not getting anything back. So, I've been a professional for years. I don't work for free. Even when I worked for my best friend, he got a discounted rate, but he paid me. I don't work for free. And unfortunately, Tri-State TWA couldn't provide this time. So I wasn't as enthused with it.
I've got an ECW kind of question. It's one of my random shoot questions. ECW has chairs. I care for kids, and I have Legos.
Oh boy.
So, what hurts more, share shot ECW days or stepping on Legos that your kids leave on the floor?
Uh-oh.
It depends on who's swinging the chair.
That's what I was told a couple weeks ago.
Yep. Every time.
Every time.
If it's,
And I agree.
if it's Balls Mahoney,
Oh, jeez.
no, you're dead. You're dead.
Oh.
Axel
Oh.
Rotten is another
Ow.
one. You're dead.
Mhm.
Just dead. I would
Fair
rather
thing.
take the Lego, to be honest.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, no. Otherwise, I've stepped on Legos too because I'm a toy collector. I've been a toy collector for years and years. So yeah, I have stepped on plenty of Legos.
Mhm.
Yeah, and plus they had a match. Gangrel had a match at his show, one of his shows, and one of these idiots pulled out a bag of Legos.
Oh,
That
jeez.
shit was everywhere. I'm like,
All of
come on, stop that. But yeah, so it really does depend on who's swinging the chair.
All right. Bill, do you have anything else? Or we can close the show.
Yeah. What does Jimmy Jannety do these days?
Jimmy Jannety is a action figure collector and a comic book employee right now. I work for a friend who's owns a comic shop down here, Past, Present, Future Comics in West Palm Beach. So if anybody is out and about, say hi. Yeah, so that's it now. And I've been the toy collector for 40 some odd years. So that continues. And wrestling figures are probably the number one.
I get it.
Yeah, and we've talked about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have always been that. I've always done that, and will hopefully always continue to do that. So
Awesome.
Runs through your blood. I get it.
yeah,
Jimmy?
right.
Excuse me. So, Mr. Jannety, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it.
I appreciate your time. Thank you, Bill, man, for setting this up.
Yeah,
thank
appreciate you. You're a great co-host. Here at Huge Pop Entertainment, we love to give the legends and the indie stars their props and a floor to share their stories. And I'm so glad I got to hear your stories.
Absolutely.
I'd love to have you come back on maybe in 2026 and share some more. But I don't think we have enough time to hear everything, with anybody you talk to.
No, we haven't talked about the Gangrel's wrestling school.
So there's a lot more we can
plenty
talk
of
about.
Plenty of stuff about there.
So if
We'll
I
definitely
can
get into
invite you on a Thursday night in 2026, maybe February, March, we hear more from Mr. Jimmy Jannety. Bill, you have a blessed night. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to play the closing song, and then we'll talk. I'll say goodbye off campus. So, thank you, Jimmy Jannety. Huge Pop Entertainment is always what for life.